Hey everyone, welcome to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers. In this episode, we're going to talk about Team 17 saying bye-bye to Ready or Not. Ready or Not, which is an early access game out on Steam, was going to be published by Team 17, which hopefully everyone's familiar with that publishing arm. But they basically split ways. And the reason why they split ways is basically someone on Reddit had mentioned if there was going to, so to give you a little bit of background about what Ready or Not is first. Ready or Not is like a tactical shooter, kind of like if you remember the old SWAT games, or kind of somewhat like Rainbow Six, more SWAT, but kind of Rainbow Six, that type of thing where you're tactical shooting and you have to go in and take out the enemy and, don't kill the hostages. And yeah, like very tactical though, like not Rainbow Six where you just bust through the wall and two shotguns and you're just blasting things down. It's more the old school Rainbow Six where it was tactical, or SWAT if you know the SWAT games. So that's basically what this game is. Real world scenario type things, stuff like that. So someone on Reddit had mentioned, is there going to be a school shooting mission in the main campaign? And the comment was deleted, but one of the developers of Ready or Not did chime in and say, you better believe it's gonna. So that prompted a lot of backlash over the thread, over the comment, ranging from people calling it tasteless all the way to promoting violence in schools. Excuse me. Void Interactive is the makers of Ready or Not. So basically, Void Interactive did put a tweet that said that Void Interactive and Team 17 have mutually agreed that Team 17 will no longer publish Ready or Not. So basically, even though I think initially they said that it wasn't over the school shooting mission, or the idea of a mission like that, it definitely seems that way because it kind of came out of nowhere. So right now, Void Interactive is looking for a different publisher, but rumors are they're probably end up going to just publish it themselves. Now, Void Interactive did put out a longer statement on Twitter, not only affirming that they were making a level in Ready or Not that would depict a SWAT team response to a school shooting in the game, but essentially doubling down on the idea that they would move forward with that vision after losing their publisher. So they have a full statement. It's pretty long, and down in the description, I will put a link to the article, which does have that tweet, and you can read through it yourself. But what do you guys think of this? So what do you guys think of? For me, this game looks really cool. I think it'd be a fun game to play. But what do you think of them, Team 17, saying, it's too much for us in a school shooting level? Remember, you're not the bad guys here. You're the SWAT team. So you're the good guys responding to something happening. So what do you guys think of this? Let's go to Patrick. Patrick, what do you think of this whole thing?
I mean, the game developers came out and basically stated their philosophy. They're wanting real world events because it is a SWAT-like game. And I mean, that is unfortunately part of today's society, right? We have that, especially in the USA, we have a lot more than most other countries do because we're a nation of guns. We have guns and kids have ready access to guns, and people aren't properly raised, or they have mental illnesses that, whatever's behind the reasoning that they happen here more frequently. So I can understand. Their stance. They got to do what's right for them as a company. If they don't feel like they can get behind something like this, that's their choice. I have nothing against that. If that's what they want to do, that's fine. I have nothing against it. The developer, in my opinion, should have had some tact, right? You should have known something like that's going to get you your hand smacked. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder how people interact with the world around them. If you can just blatantly spit something like that out without thinking that's going to have repercussions, or that you're not necessarily offending somebody, because everything you say can offend somebody, but to the point of having no view of what's going on in the world around you, just to go, yeah, of course, you better believe it. Come on, dude. If I said, are we going to have shooting puppies in the game? And you said the same thing, or you don't think that's going to have repercussions? I mean, I don't know what some of these people think. Like, where is that where is that part where your brain gets ready to say something and your brain goes, wait a minute, that's probably not a good idea. Like, do those people just have that connection between their brain and their mouth just direct? It just goes like boop, boop, instead of having some type of intermediate filter that goes, we should run this through my head before I say it. Don't say it out loud. Let me, and in this case, it's even worse, right? It's not like you're having a one-on-one conversation. You're actually thinking about what they said and typing it out on a keyboard and then hitting enter. So it came out on your screen for you to read before you hit enter. So in my opinion, the developer should have had a lot more tact. And I do not hold the publisher at any type of, it's their choice as a company. They get behind that or not, that's them. And if this is their philosophy and they don't want to be behind it, perfectly acceptable in my eyes. Shane, what do you think, man? What are your thoughts on this whole, now it's, I mean, technically they don't need a publisher, right? It's making news, so they don't need a publisher to push this out there.
Yeah, it's like you said, I don't blame them for backing out. I understand their ideal that, if they don't feel comfortable with a game having that scenario, but you are, like you pointed out, you are the SWAT team. You are the good guys, So, and I mean, you're not causing the shooting. You're reporting to the shooting. So I believe the developer, like you said, had dick for tact. I mean, they had no tact whatsoever. You better believe it. That was the dumbest thing you could have said.
That was the hold my beer. That was the hey, hold my beer.
It hold my beer moment, if there ever frickin' was one. You're absolutely right. Now, if they would have came out and said, look, our game is meant for fun. Don't get us wrong. Our game is meant for fun. But understand that we base this game, these missions, on real world situations. Unfortunately, our world is in this situation more and more, painfully more and more. So how would you respond to an active shooter? Now, keep this in mind, though. Who is the shooter in the game? Is it an adult or is it a child? That's where I have a draw the line moment. If it is a child, which most school shootings, like 99% of them, are a child shooting another child. I can't do that. I couldn't be okay with that type of mission where I have to go in and stop a child, even though granted that's reality. There are children killing children, plain and simple. I understand that. If it is an adult, I have more understanding. I could deal with that and I could understand that more as a mission of a game. But I couldn't do it if it was you're reporting to a 14-year-old kid running through his school shooting other kids. I couldn't do that. I think the way the mission is handled, to me, would makes sense in one direction over another. So if it's a child shooting children, I think the mission should be pulled from the game, period. If it is an adult situation, and I don't want to see children's bodies laying around either. I want to get there. I want to get there right as it happened while all the kids are hiding, that kind of a mission, But man, there's so many ways it could play out. Is it a group of people in the mission? So, there's so many things that we don't know about this said mission that makes big impacts on whether or not it should be allowed in the game. And that's just my opinion. Do I believe the developer has the right to make this level the way they want? No. I think there's a point where morality and common sense says there's just certain things you shouldn't do. And I know you're probably like, really? Did he say that? Yeah, I think there's a point to just common decency and common sense where you gotta know that there's lines and you shouldn't cross them. I mean, it's getting to be a rough world out there where everybody thinks it's okay to do everything they want because they disagree, or they find it offensive. I'm so fucking tired of the word offensive anymore. I could puke. But you also have to understand that there are lines that should not be drawn. Me killing a child for any reason in the game, I shouldn't be doing, unless it's possessed. We'll go with that. I'm okay with shooting devil children. No kidding. And it's not to, sound like I'm better than these people or anything like that, but I just know I have a limit. And I think there should be limits on these things. The airport setting of Modern Warfare 2, I believe it was 2. People were really pissed off about that. I played through that level multiple times, and I had no problem with it because I understand it's a game. I understand the reality of what I was doing. There was no reality into it. I wasn't killing children. I wasn't shooting up schools. I wasn't, going into, churches or any crap like that. Doing anything like that I would feel undeemable. But I don't know. I'm trying not to get on a tangent here. So let's go over to Nick and get his thoughts. What do you think, bud?
Yeah. So like you guys, Team 17, if that's what they want to do, then by all means, they're the publisher. It seems like they had a mutual agreement. More than likely Team 17 was probably like, sorry, we can't be behind that. And Void Interactive was like, okay, no, we understand, and they kind of went their own ways. And exactly like you said, that was a PR nightmare. If they have a PR team, the PR team is probably like, oh my God, like, right? Because that was just a horrible way to put it out there. Yeah, it would depend on, kind of what you said, Shane, and the fact that should they be allowed to make the level? I think they should be able to make allowed to make it. But it just depends on how they make it, right? For me, and I would agree with you. I wouldn't like to see like little kids run around and, if they made, if they were to make it to where when you're going through the school is just the level and all you're fighting against is just the bad people, right? And you're not really seeing anybody else in the school besides them. That could be one thing, right? But it depends on how they make this. Now, take in mind, this map is not in the game currently. In its current build, this map is not there. They've said they are going to make it, or it is going to be there. And they've doubled down on that, but currently it's not there. There's no like test builds or anything like that has this map there. So even though they've said they are going to do it, it is not there. So they could change their minds and never include it. It could be a thing that they decide, and you know what? Maybe we're getting too much backlash from the people, or maybe we're not going to put that in there, or maybe we do put it in there, but it's a very toned down version of maybe what they were originally going to put in. Who knows? Right now, it's not in the game. This is just something they've said. But yeah, it's as far as PR goes, that was a bad move on their part with whoever replied to the comment. But this is a game, about real world scenarios, right? And it is unfortunate, but school shootings are pretty prevalent in the United States. I think even in this article, towards the end, we've had, they say in the article, as the date of the writing, there have been 34 school shootings in the United States in the year of 2021. That's just this year, right? 34. That's a lot. There's 365 days of the year, but 34 is way too many. 1 is way too many. 34 is way, way too many. So we got a big problem in the United States, especially with these types of shootings. And I can understand a game, that's wanting to reflect on real world scenarios, wanting to put that in there. And it does remind me, like you said, Shane, of the Call of Duty airport scene. They had a lot of controversy when it came out too. Of course, there was no kids in the airport, but you're just shooting down. You are the bad guys in that sense, and you're just gunning down civilians in an airport, which is a real world scenario. And so, and that even on its own is a not very tasteful thing to look at, but it is something that does and has happened before. So, it's regardless of that, as far as their handling of things, that was bad. But as far as them, making this level, or if that's what they want to do, then that's what then they have every right to make it, I think. So, it is what it is. Pat,
Yeah.
do you have something?
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, I agree with you. I think they have every right. And it's hard to say what to be censored, right? It's hard to say that. You can't say this is okay and that's not okay because it's subjective. I mean, honestly, it's subjective to everybody. What is morally okay for one person is not morally okay for another. Even in this country where we have a law laws are mostly in the United States morally governed. They're like that all over the world. I mean, they're where your morality is. This nation is based on a certain set of rules and certain set of understandings, and things are morally wrong. And you can see that no matter where you go in the world. Like, you take anything, for example. I mean, you take things like circumcision in the United States. You go over to another country, and I'm just saying, because that's subjective, right? Everything's you go over to another country, and they said that is mutilation and that's child abuse. But that's okay here because that's not our belief. But if you go over to another country, that's bad. And it's just different. So what I'm trying to make a point is that say, while this is something that's prevalent over here and it's something that happens, why would you say it's okay for me to show you shooting down an airport full of people, but I can't show a real world SWAT scenario where people going in an active school shooter because it's a real world scenario? I mean, a lot of games have taken that to heart, right? Every one of these games where you do like terrorist hunt and things like this in these games, there's no kids. There's no kids in an airplane that's being taken over by terrorists. And they do their job to try to keep that out of there. But it's also not true to form, right? Because you have children in this stuff, but it's because it's a sensitive subject. So this, in my opinion, the studio is free to do what they want. It'll help or hurt them. It depends on who their audience is. I don't know how it would help them to include it, but I can understand how it will hurt them to include it because there's going to be people who are going to just say, I opt out because I don't want to play that, or they just may never play the map. So, it is what it is on that one.
Well, and by the way, thanks for the trimming the visor off the meat helmet reference there. That was catch me off guard. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the context of the mission, how that's designed would decide for me whether or not I would play that mission. I explained how I felt about it and what, where my boundaries are. I think you have to decide your boundaries. You don't decide them for me. That's a big problem in this goddamn world, especially in this country right now. Is everybody seems like they can decide for everybody. That's BS. Now, granted, I may think if they come out with the mission and it's completely like I did not want, like, the children and there's a child shooter, blah, 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 which sadly is real world, I would not play it just because it's not offensive to me. It's a sensitive subject to me. That's a different thing. But
there's nothing wrong with that. To each their own, right?
Exactly. Do I want them to make the mission that way? No, I don't. I draw the line there. But you know what? That's my line. That's not theirs. So, I'm still trying to get over your whole freaking.
I had to throw something that's referenced in there because it's morality, right? I mean, we all agree that school shootings is a horrible thing, but it's a part of reality. Whatever side of the fence you sit on, it should be morally wrong for everybody in there. But you never know. I mean, it's a weird world that we live in, right? Because certain things, and I would hope, and I do believe that 99.999% of the world think that school shooting is horrible and an unmentionable thing, and it's committed by the 0.00001% of the people in the world, and it's one of those things that should be universally considered immoral or bad, but people do it, so not everybody thinks the same way, right?
Yep. Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, I mean, this is a hard subject because it is about personal lives, personal beliefs and values. It's not a religious thing. It's not a political thing. It is just purely a personal feeling. you guys might be, you know what, I'm going to check this mission out. Even though they said, yes, it's a child shooter, and you will see children on the floor, which sadly and heartbreakingly is based off of reality. You guys would probably have to do that mission without me, because it's just my heart doesn't want to see that. My heart can't handle that. I have kids. You guys have kids, but your lines, my lines, strangers' lines, it's we have to take responsibility for ourselves and ourselves only. That's it. I'm not going to push my feelings onto these people. I think the developer has the right to make it. I think the other company, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name. I don't think they don't have to produce it. They don't have to put it out there. If they agree to this mutually, great. I would rather see them mutual than, a big argument about it, because I think that to me says, hey, both people are willing to listen. So let's just get that out there. But before we go, I think I think I expressed myself about as well as I can. I do not like these missions for the fact of these conversations that get people talking just for the sake of talk. If you put a mission in there like this, it needs to be based for the story, or, for a true reason, not just to get up hype. I think the airport mission, I think that one fit well into the narrative of the story. Could they have done a different mission, done something different? Oh, yeah, they could have done lots of things. But you know what? I don't think they threw it in there to be a talking point in the world. That's just me. That's just me.
I mean, I will. My only thing with this is, it's a very small company. Void Interactive is not very large. I think it was founded by 3 people, and hopefully it wasn't one of the 3 people who founded the company that made this half-ass stupid remark that can't regulate their thoughts out their mouth. Because if it is one of the 3 of them, then it just shows that the studio lacks tact and lacks vision and to do things right the proper way and with sensitivity. That's just my opinion. If one of the 3 founders is the one, because I didn't see the tweet and I tried to find a screenshot of the tweet to figure out which one it was, and that's how it is, and so they're going to try to protect some identities a little bit, but that just shows to me that you lack tact and you lacked some type of humility and humanity. If you can just be like, oh yeah, there's going to be a school shooting, you get to pop the little kid in the head because he's the one killing the other ones. I mean, it just shows lack of tact and a lack of common sense, in my opinion.
Yeah, the response is probably worse than the actual mission. You're right.
The actual mission that doesn't exist yet.
Yeah, exactly. When Nick read off that response, I mean, I've heard of the phrase cringeworthy, but I've never physically made the cringe movement in my freaking life till Nick read that off. It's like, are you freaking kidding me? So somebody knocked a Twitter out of that retard's hands. Pardon my language.
He needs to get off Reddit.
Bad reply for sure.
Yeah. It's
the
called
HR department's probably
before you're tweeting.
The HR department revoked everybody's Twitter and Reddit and everybody's social media permissions.
They took his keyboard away. You don't get this anymore. So
you have to do all your programming with a mouse now.
Yeah.
Oh. This is a great subject because it's a hard subject, and I want people to think about the subject, and I want people to tell us what they think. I mean, you think I'm wrong for my feelings on it? Do you think I'm right? I mean, what do you think about the company? More importantly, I think the most important thing is when you reply to a sensitive subject, you should really read that and maybe get some second perspective on that before you hit send. Because Jesus,
clearly wasn't thinking before hitting send. They just typed it out and hit the enter button, and it goes. And
hey Bob, does this look like it'll piss some people off?
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. I mean, but it's unfortunate, and companies do this stupid crap all the time where someone says puts their foot in their mouth and says something stupid. But we'll have to see. Like I said, we'll have to see if this company even puts that mission in there. It's currently not there now. I mean, they've doubled down on it, yes, but it could end up being where they just don't put it at all, right? And if they do bring it out, we'll just have to see how they handle it, right? But like Shane said, leave your comments down below. What do you think of this particular type of mission in there? If you played Ready or Not, what do you think of the game? What do you think of them and Team 17 going their separate ways? So let us know down in the comments below. But I want to thank everybody for listening and for watching. Make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notifications to stay up to date on new videos we do all the time. We'll see you next time, everyone. Bye-bye.
See ya.